I'm excited, you guys. This is what Arnold's talking about. It's not just theory. This is facts. I mean, the next 6 to 8 months, we're going to see a lot of people's income double. Right? Some of you guys triple, but you know when you're at 20 grand, you can easily triple to 60, right? But but I have there's a lot of momentum in the team. Remember we're talking about our spirits are high, but numbers are low. Now our spirits are high and our numbers reflect it. And I'm so excited for a lot of you, right? And so and what's to come, there's a lot of. I think it's we have a couple other speakers coming out, but I think we're gonna have Damon John at our convention. You guys know Damon John from Shark Tank, right? So I think we're gonna have him. Ed Milet's been in Vegas this entire time, and literally, he's everybody at 10X has been dying to meet Ed. That's how that's how much value he's bringing and content to that event. And so I don't know if you guys follow him. He's doing all the interviews. He's pulling everybody to his room in Mandalay doing all the interviews, right? With all these guys. It's pretty fun to see. But we got you're in the right place, right time. I just did a video with I was charging my Tesla, and I said let me do a video. I finally figured out how to stop Instagram. I don't know if you guys do that. You can actually stop the video on Instagram. I used to do like 30 takes. So finally I figured out you can actually stop it and then record again. But I was just talking about you could be at the right place, right time, but you're not prepared. And when I say preparation doesn't just come in a form of skill. It just doesn't come in a form of technique or strategy. It comes in a form of are you prepared to receive? And part of preparing to receive is, one of the things that Ed Milet taught me in business. He said, man, it's the reason you work hard in business is so you have the feeling of deserving. You know what I mean? And so the feeling of deserving gives a lot. And so what happens now, I was a guy that in the office before anyone else, up late, I was the one to shut it down, open it up, shut it down, open it up. And basically this was years of that, right? And finally and it's almost like in Think and Grow Rich, it talks about your abundance. Like when it comes, you don't know where it was hiding this whole time, right? Because it just comes in avalanche, and then you're prepared to receive it. You end up retaining the wealth, right? You end up retaining the wealth versus just blowing it out, right? You see a lot of people, they get to 200-300 grand, their income has outgrown their identity, and when your income outgrows your identity, you don't do it consciously, but you figure out a way to go back to where your comfort was, whether it's at 70 grand or you sabotage your own success to go back to where you're at. And I'm just excited because a lot of people has grown their identity and their income is about to max out to it, right? And obviously there's another plateau there, and then you increase your identity again and meet that. And so there's a lot of people I'm talking to, they're saved up, they're hungry, right? And it's awesome stuff. So I've had a chance to be part of the company now. If you know, it's about 13 and a half years, and I've had a chance to do this. And I seriously tell you, this is the most fired up I've been in my career. I'm ready to go for a third wave, right? I mentioned to you guys from 0 to 6 years. Right, we promoted 3 SMDs, and none of you guys were in this room, so we got a fairly new team. Everybody here hasn't been there's no one here that's been here longer than 6.5 years. I know that for a fact, right? Everyone here is 6 years old. Imagine that. Imagine a business it's a rookie team, right? So everybody from 0 to 6 promoted 3 SMDs, and then those 3 SMDs either got terminated, one got terminated, and then one got a divorce, and ended up leaving, and anyway, whatever it is, they all left. So imagine, it took me 6 years, got to 3 S&Ds. They all left at that year. I got to restart again from scratch. And then from 6 to 12, we developed 55 S&Ds as a team. Right? So a lot of times, you don't know where your blessing is. I could have quit right there, because I had a lot of quitting thoughts at that time. How many of you guys have quitting thoughts, or just me? Right? I thought about quitting thousands of times. Right? And the difference between, there's a lot of people that could have quit on the 6th year. You go, man, this doesn't work. And there was evidence around me that it doesn't work. Right? And so, but I still believed in the dream. Kept believing, have faith in my future, have faith in my vision. And literally, as soon as I made that decision, literally within about a week or two, Tita shows up in my life. Woo! Can you imagine? Woo! know, and obviously she didn't come, you know, in a way that she came. So, and that's the thing that most people, so for example, she came in my life, but I didn't know where the blessing was yet, because it was 10 months of agony. I mean, you know what I mean? Can you imagine all the pain? But you know what? There was a blessing in everything. Like, I learned how to be, like, really patient. Talk about patience. I mean, I brought that to my marriage, so it helped out. Thank you, Tita. There's a lot. I mean, so a lot of these curses in business, right? There's a blessing and a learning thing in it, because I learned a lot from Tita and being. You know, we had, like, Audrey's mom was a good friend of Tita. They were working Chino prison together. And we would go on field training with Audrey's mom, and I said, pull over. Because literally we were on the other side of the lane. Like, I'm driving, right? Because in our I'll go over this in a little bit, but the trainee usually drives to the appointment. Yeah. You guys understand,
I don't know.
we took 3 industries, okay?
But just skip here. Switch it out.
I'll show you guys a quick video. We took 3 industries, okay? We took 3 industries and did a hybrid of it. We looked at the traditional business model, right? Traditional business model and how that works. And usually there's tons of capital, whether it's a franchise system or even a non-franchise system, it requires a lot of capital. How many of you guys have been in business before, right? Nina, where's Nina? You had how much in inventory in your warehouse? She was telling me, I think, $500,000 in clothing inventory in her warehouse, and that was wholesale cost. Right? How much inventory did you have in your warehouse? Like wholesale costs? No, before you got rid of everything.
Maybe 1.5 million.
1.5 million in her warehouse, stuck. You understand? You can't eat clothes. You know what I mean? So, like, when you're hungry, that thing has to move. And so the point is, traditional business, right? Whether it's clothing, franchise system, McDonald's. So we look at that industry. Pros and cons about it, right? Pros, especially in the franchise model, right, is it's duplicatable, it works, right? It is systematic income. You never seen a McDonald's shut down. And then we looked at basically the financial industry. The challenge with the financial industry, it's the good thing is there's great earning power in it. The challenge, right? It's a biased industry. It only helps out the top 2%. Right. On top of that, it's basically a dying industry right now because the average age of it is 55 years old. Right, Ty? Yes. Yeah. You're usually white male, 55 years old. That's it. So it doesn't look like this. This is not a financial services company the way it looks. Right. So so I'll tell you how we changed it. And the third thing is we looked at network marketing companies and basically the model they have in building, pros and cons of that. Pros. They talk about personal improvement. The challenge with it, most of them are not making money. The average income in Amway is 6 cents a month, right? So it's obviously not sustainable income, right? And so we looked at those 3 models and we did a hybrid of it. We said we're going to borrow some of the ideas of network marketing in regards to building a relationship, which is probably the best thing out of it, and that's probably it, right? And personal development. We looked at the financial service industry. We said this is a great service-oriented business. And we're going to take that same concept, and instead of just sharing it to the wealthy, we're going to share it to the average American family. Last week, I helped out a single mom with 3 kids, put away $150 a month. Same day, I helped out a doctor, put away a couple million. Guess what? I shared the same exact information with a single mom as I did with a doctor. Right? Same exact product. They're getting the same information, no bias, none of that. So think about it. Like, who would sit down with my mother-in-law or my mom if it wasn't for this company? Right? They sat down. They sat down with my mom, helped her out. I sat down with my mother-in-law. I actually I field trained my wife with my mother-in-law. I helped her out and saved her, got her the same insurance for half the cost, right? And that half the cost got her other stuff, right? On top of that, we looked at the traditional business model, right? I sit down with a lot of people that are about to buy a franchise and all that. I said, keep the $1 million and use our model basically to grow it just like a franchise, without having the franchise fee, royalty, all that stuff, right? So whether it's Remax they're buying, Century 21, right, McDonald's or whatever franchise. So we looked at those 3 models and we infused it. That's why we got royalties on offices we open up. We got the relationship marketing, right? You can call it rah-rah. I think most people need rah-rah in their life because most of the environment, right? Paul, we were talking about this yesterday, right? The challenge with corporate is mostly what? I mean, you were mentioning this, I think, to Ty. They don't have an environment that supports them to win. and not just win, to become wealthy. Right? And I'm saying wealthy, not just in a form of money. On the way here, everything we talked about was wealthy in form of time with my kids, time with my family, time on what's important to me, so my business serves my family, not the other way around. Right? And that's our philosophy, and that's what we believe in. So when you start communicating with people, you start to basically communicate now with conviction as you download like good stuff, like stuff about our business. And so, all right, so a couple things you should have, right? We got a, you should have in your trunk or on digital, however you do it. But, right, this is right there. So this is trust, respect, right? Trust, respect sheet, the F&A. In the back of it is the referrals. We got the referrals in the back. Also, how many of you guys have this? This is a this is from Rich Stolley himself. So this is a way where you can have just share with your clients. So if I'm sitting down with Ty and I go, let's say in the end of it, I go, this is some of the things you can tell the people, let's say I helped you out, you guys become clients, and I go, this is some of the things that you can share with the clients, or the people you care about that you want to send to me. This is some of the things that you can share. Whatever applies to you, share with them, right? So for example, it says, these guys, and let me give you the 4 bullet points. It's pretty unique here. So these guys are these guys help people, the rest, and these are natural stuff. Doesn't sound like a script, and it's whatever applies to them, right? So he'll pick 2 or 3 of these, and this is what he would say to people that he knows, right, and cares about. So these guys help people the rest of the financial industry is not willing to help, right? If that applies to him, great. If I would have met with them 3 years ago, it would have made a world difference to me financially. How many guys like that applies to you? Anybody? That applies to you, right? So, and another one is we always knew we needed to do something better, but we didn't know who to turn to or what to turn to. Right? See how it's just natural conversation you can share with someone. And watch this. I'm really impressed with this. They take a low-key educational approach, and I trust them. How many of you guys that applies to you? Right? Low-key educational approach, I trust them. They're not salesy, pushy, right? Whatever it is you want to share there. So literally, you can coach your clients and just kind of bullet points on what to share. And then now, I don't like referrals. I want quality introduction. This is now a quality introduction. When I call them up, there was a quality introduction by Ty or whoever might be that they're sitting down with. And so that's a quick note there. So I have that there. You leave that with a client with the referral sheet, and then you got next thing is a referral sheet, right? And then the life intake form, memory jogger if needed, and all that stuff. So we got that whole packet right there. So we'll I have instead of usually I'll use paper, but you can use iPad, you can use whatever you want. Some of you guys got fancy on the PowerPoint, which is nothing wrong with that. The reason we went to paper versus that is you got some of the word educate comes from the word educar, right? Which is a Latin root word for basically how the meaning is to draw out from. So when you're sitting down with clients, is your job is to draw out from them, the what's important to them, what's relevant to the situation. So I'm just I'm gonna go through this real quick, and then we'll wrap up here. Why don't you can be the trainee from there. Is that okay? All right. So, what has Aubrey told you so far about our company?
You guys are great. You're helping families.
All right, hold on. Okay, I'll do Norman. Why don't you just bring a chair? You got your chair. There you go. No, that's fine. Good. So, Norman. So, Norman, what have you heard so far about our company?
Hey, first of all, before we get started, I just want to take the time out to thank Paul for coming out here to meet with my friends Ty and Nat. Paul's actually been in the business for so long, and he's helped thousands of families, financially. He's put together strategies where they got out of debt, retired early, and actually Paul put together a plan for me and my wife Grace, where we are in a better financial place because of him. And I just want to thank this guy. He's mentored me a lot in this business, and just thank you for taking the time out, Paul, here for in your busy schedule too to meet with my friends Ty and Nat.
Very good. Well, thank you. Thank you guys for spending some time with us tonight. And Norman's doing very well. They actually just got their promotion and decided to train them, right? So a couple of things that happen here right before I dive in, because when I dive in, it's going to be more just content. I want to give you guys more psychology also, not just that. So a couple of things that happen just as far as protocol. When we walk into a kitchen table, the trainee already knows, because we're driving together, so we're having conversations, and he already knows his role and my role, right? So there's roles that he's doing. He knows his job is, he knows if he talks too much in the presentation, I'll just hand him the ball, right? And he can do the presentation, because we don't need two people like just going at it. And but also the main thing is just for seating purposes, for example, we go this way, and then basically we'll have them as much as possible. Obviously it's not feasible sometimes, but if they can face the wall versus a TV, for example, it would be better because we get more attention spent, right? So if this was a wall and the TV's over there, then they're facing this way, and if we can somehow get seated on the other side of it, that'd be great. And what they're looking at here, so if this is husband and wife, they're good friends, you guys we're sitting across from each other instead of, like, if Norman sat there, I'm over here, what does it look like? Very salesy, right? Like I'm the 3 against 1, and I'm here to, and the point of the matter is, whoever he's bringing, right, whether it's Audrey, it's a true favor to him anyway. Does that make sense? We have a mentorship program where you guys can have a chance, and you can pull like different mentors or different access to different people. Where else can you find that? Like if you go to any real estate firm or investment firm and you go, man, I want to sit down with a top guy and bring him out in the field. Top guy goes, no, go learn it like I did for 10 years and suck at it, and then do that, right? Because the moment you learn what I know, you're gonna be my competition. This doesn't happen here. So it's when you understand the magnitude of that, then the edification, the proper introduction is real. Does that make sense? It's just most of us come from an employee standpoint, and we're expected to be trained and developed and HR book and whatever it might be, right? Right? So, right? Nothing wrong with that. His wife is in HR, so it's an inside joke. But Audrey was the same way. So she was waiting to be, Yeah. Anyway, that's another story. So, what were we talking about? You are not a seating. So on top of that, and Norman knows, and again, whatever, if we come in, and this is funny because this happened last night, but I brought my kid there, and even Paul David had his kid there, and then he has 3 kids, and then 2 dogs, and so it was like chaos last night. But typically, and 5 years. So, and I know him already. So, but this in a typical appointment, Norman knows if there's some sort of, because mission comes first. So if there's some sort of help needed with the kids for some reason, just so they can pay attention to all that, or Norman or Grace, they will help out with the kids temporarily just so they can get the topic, right? That we're covering, so there's no distraction, all that, and we can kind of move. So especially if we got 2 appointments together, usually we'll have a 6 and 8. If he booked me for a 6, we'll usually have an 8, right? 6 and 8 o'clock appointment. If we do 3 appointments, it's usually a 5:30, 7, and 8:30, right? So every hour and a half if it's 3 appointments, and then if it's 2 appointments, it's usually 6 and 8. So we got that. So just protocol. So obviously before we walk in, it's his job too that we get to the kitchen table, not in the living room, not in a formal dining room, because who sits in a formal dining room or living room? Usually strangers, correct? Usually people you don't know. Oh, just have a seat, right? And you sit them down and. Right, in the dining room or living room that no one ever sits in. Everybody that's your friends goes to where? Straight to the kitchen table. Right? And so that's why we call it a KTP. It's a kitchen table presentation. Right? As corny as it sounds, but that's what it is. And so we do it because it's where the warm conversations happen. It's where decisions are made, and we have it there. So anyway, we finally get seated, and then boom, we do the intro. So he knows already. Right? He knows already the cue that when I go, what have you heard so far about our company? It's his job to basically just do a quick testimonial on how the companies help him. And now also, it's for him to basically transition it to me. He goes, man, this is how Paul has helped me out. He's helped me in my retirement, college fund. I wanted to make sure that he shares this with one of my good friends. And I wanted to make sure he shared the same information he shared with me with you guys. So now it's an easy transition also where I just share right away. I don't have to do all these whatever, right? I mean, it's just straight to it. So So right before we get started, if you don't mind, I'll just take a couple of notes. But if you don't mind, I just ask you some questions so I can get to know you guys a little bit better. And I'll just take some notes as I do that, and then I kind of customize what we're talking about to what's important to you guys. Is that fair? All right, sounds good. So, yeah. All right. So now, what do you currently do?
I'm LVN.
LVN. Nice.
Yes.
Okay. How long you been doing that?
2 years.
2 years.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Good. And then what made you get into nursing?
I love helping people, so my big goal in life is to help the world in some way. So that's nursing is a little way to do that.
Nice. Wonderful. Anything you dislike or like to change? Or
I like to get paid more.
you like to get paid more? Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. How about yourself, Ty? What do you do? What type of work?
Truck driver.
Truck driver. Okay. And how's that going? Has it been a while or
Slow.
slow? Hopefully you go slow. Yeah. Anything you dislike or like to change? Or?
I'd like to spend more time with my family.
Are you gone a lot? Always on the road. All right. Sounds good. So you got, and then are you guys earning enough income right now to realize your goals and dreams for your family? Or?
No, she's spending
I like to talk to the three of them.
And that? All right. So let me ask you guys this: what's the most important thing to you guys in your life at this point? Like for me, whether it's home, health, family, another home, retirement, what education for the kids, what would come first?
Spending time with the kids.
Yeah.
And
Spending time
more
with kids.
time with the kids, education for the kids.
it. Retirement.
Retirement.
I mean, I'm older.
Yeah,
She's wearing me out.
It's like a replay of last night. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. So let me ask you this: what's some of the things that's important to you guys? I mean, what's some of the dreams and goals that cost money?
Buying a house.
Buying a house. Did you
opening
guys
up
have
a-
you guys thought of what area or
OC, the OC area.
OC?
Yeah.
You guys how many bedrooms or
5.
5? what part of OC you guys thinking about?
Newport Beach.
Newport Beach.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Nice. Wonderful. I just actually moved in the area, so yeah,
Oh,
wonderful.
okay.
Yeah. So you got, and then what else? What else is important to you guys that costs money?
Opening my own business, our own business.
Our own business,
A wellness center.
wellness center.
Yes.
Okay. What have you guys been pondering on that for a while, or
Yes.
how long you been, or when do you plan to open that up?
Couple years.
Couple, yeah, 5, 6 years.
You know that?
Yeah.
And how much money does it take to do that?
Probably, about $1 million.
$1 million bucks? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So you guys be able to do that in about 5-6 years or so? Or?
If she stops spending it.
probably not. Probably.
Any other thing that stands out as far? How about education for the kids? Is that important to you guys?
Very much so.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right,
Private.
sounds good. Private. And how about college? Is that something you guys want to help with, or
Yes.
just let them
College
figure it
fund-
out?
No, college fund is important.
College fund is
Yes.
important. Okay. How about retirement plan? Like
Yes.
like a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. How would you guys rate it?
For our kids?
No, for retirement.
Oh, for
Yeah.
us. Oh, that's
Seems to
like
be
a
like
10.
10.
That's a
Yeah,
10.
10?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you say 15 and a half?
20?
All right. And anything else that comes to mind? Do you guys like to travel? Are you on this?
Traveling
Yeah?
is very important.
And that?
Yes.
Okay. Traveling. Where would you guys travel to? Where would be the first destination you guys go to? Or do you guys travel already, or? No?
Yes,
Yeah, we
I'm
went to
going to Europe in May. We're
West
going
Canada.
to that was very far. We're going to Europe in May.
In May. Okay.
Yeah.
London.
London.
I'm actually going to Europe.
And then, all right. Sounds good. So you got, and then how much? Let me ask you guys this: how much money would it take to be able to do the things you guys just described? An annual income of that, to be able to open up the wellness center, get in the Newport Beach home, be able to travel regularly, be able to provide education, retirement.
253.
253.
Yeah.
Or would-
That's more, yeah.
more? Okay. All right. I usually ask the wife.
Yeah.
More.
I need more.
So let me ask you this: so how much more? What would you say?
I'm gonna say $1 million a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then let me ask this: when would you earn that in your current career to realize your
I
dreams?
wouldn't. Yeah, I would
How
not.
about, is it feasible in your career? Or?
No, not really.
Okay. So let me ask you this: if your job or profession won't allow you to realize your dream life, What's more important to you? Is it staying in your job or profession or leading the ideal life?
Leading the ideal life, yes.
Yeah, okay. So, and then let me ask you guys this. This is just I'm just curious. If I could show you a way to potentially earn additional income, would you guys take advantage of it? Or?
100%, yeah.
Okay.
I'm open to that.
Okay. All right. And something that we can talk about later on. But I want to just share with you. This is why I got started with the company. When I first initially got started, I was a newlywed, just had a baby, and basically me and my wife were working just odd jobs and really just trying to do it here. So one of the things, we started our marriage business and basically starting having a family all simultaneously. And so we wanted, part of the reason we wanted to just go full throttle on this, because I've lived in a household with peace of mind and with no peace of mind. And I finally figured out, it's a lot better to have it with peace of mind. And so the company was able to help me get out of debt, put me in a position where I had no more car payments. I had like 3 car payments part of debt, right? Between wedding, this, that, all sorts of stuff. And then my son had a surgery, right when he was born, so that was another, and then health insurance didn't cover everything, so between debt with that, this, that, so literally, when we sat down here, we had a pretty good game plan to get rid of debt completely, because we started our marriage with quite a bit of debt, and it wasn't fun. And so one is basically, I had 3 important goals with me. One is to get out of debt completely. 2 is no car payments ever, right? And then the third is basically, I wanted to have 100,000 saved, right? And so we actually, when we hit that, we actually pulled out all the 100,000, laid it out in our bed, and just kind of watched it and showered in it. It was a good feeling, and we deposited it back, obviously, but we were just tired of just bouncing checks and this, overdraft fees, and just bickering over money. And so this company has given me peace of mind in my marriage and in my family. It's such a big deal. So we got. So as I share this with you, I want to have you guys just think of 3 things as I share this with you. One is our company a credible company, right? The companies we work with, is it credible? The second, do you believe the financial concepts we share with families, is it life-changing solution? And then the third is, who do you care about that can benefit from what we do, right? So anyway, but before I dive in, everything I did is all here. You guys, I'm sure if you've been in the field, you know what I'm talking about, right? Mm-hmm. Everything's right here. That's the flow of it, and then boom, right? So let me show you what I'm talking about, and then transition in. Right?
Are you ready, honey?
I don't know, this is a lot of information.
So we got, and then my outcome here is to simply basically just give you guys a idea on what Norman's going to be involved in doing here. So, and he's going to be basically, I'm on, we've done 8 appointments together, and he's basically transitioning. He's going to be certified trainer, and I'm excited for him and his family, and basically, so we'll share you what we do. So if nothing else, if this is not for you, or maybe you know some people that can benefit from it, and then you can help out Norman and Grace. Right, so, all right. Yeah, so let me share you a couple thoughts. By the way, I had, for some of you guys, I still have it till today, this is like the presentation, right? So I had it in the beginning, I had index cards, it should be, I had index cards in my pocket, and I would have it right here, as I going over it. Okay, let me go over this, right? So I wouldn't forget in the heat of conversation, right? So anyway, not that I need it, but it's right there, right? So just in case. So let me share you a couple thoughts, and before I do that, let me mirror this thing, see if we can get this. How do you do that? How come it's not? No. Up, right?
Yeah, up again.
Up, there we go. Mirror, big thinker, code 68. Do we have what's the name? Northern California plugged into it or no? Not really. No? Yeah, you know. Mark them. Let's just see how this works. Too small, too small. All right, we'll go to the highlighter. All right. Okay. Everybody good?
Yeah.
How do we?
That's okay. There you go. Get rid of the folder. Just maximum. There you go.
Then, how do I lock the screen? It's got to lock the screen. Lock the screen. Come on. All right, there we go. All right, we're good. Big screen. All right, just let me know if there's issues in it. All right, so just wanted to share a couple things with you guys. There's some statistics out there, basically where they went over the typical 40-40 plan. I don't know if that's gonna work. 40-40 plan. Why is it doing it?
Hand type.
Pen shape.
Hmm?
Make it pencil. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. All right. Let's just delete that. All right. So let's talk about this. So there's a concept. Basically, there's a we talk about the 40-40 hour plan. This is what most people follow, and they did a statistics on basically the average male or female that works for 40 years, and they did a study of if they condense the population into 100 men and women. Basically, there's some stats to be looked at. So out of 100 men and women that are working for 40 hours a week for 40 years, right? That's why we call it the 40-40 plan. How many of you guys know people that are in that plan? Right? That are stuck, and that's kind of it, right? So the 40-40 plan, they looked at some stats that 56 out of 100 will be dead broke. Or actually will be broke, right? And actually, hold on, 34 will be dead. So, and 56 will be dead broke. That's actually how it goes, right? So 34 will be dead, and then 56 of it will be dead broke. So that's 90 out of the 100. So think about it for a second. 90 out of 100 will be either dead or dead broke, right? And then you got a good 5 that will continue working. So they'll continue working past 65, because the way they measure this stats is somebody working from 25 to 65, right? So past 65, 5 of them will still be working. Right, that's why they have a senior program. Walmart, they have the senior program there too. Right, 4 will be financially secure. Right, they'll be financially secure, and 1 will be wealthy. Right, so if you look at the stats here, that's basically 5 out of 95. Right, 5% there. And so what we've done as a company, we said, what if majority of the 5 people here, majority of them, they know how to pay little to no taxes on their investment. They know how to have safety on their money. They know how to lose little to no money, right? And so what we've done, we said, what if we could share the same information to the masses here and basically give them the same information that we have access to? That's my dad. He just did surgery, so I'll look at it. Yeah. So we got feeling better today. I was feeling like I'd been kicked between my legs.
Oh, you met my wife.
I'm going to try to walk now. I'm going to try to walk now that it's warmed up a little. Okay. My dad just did a stent. And he knows the details. I forgot where. Not in here. Downstairs. Yeah.
That's for the
Artery or where?
abdominal.
Abdominal artery.
Wow.
So anyway, all right. So that's that. So that's where our mission was born, basically to help out. 1 is people are stuck on the 40-40 plan. 2, most people are not taught the knowledge to basically get ahead financially. And so that's where our company was born. So without this need, there's a dramatic need in the marketplace. That's why we're here. That's why we're opening up more offices. That's why Norvin's training with us, and he's helping us expand basically in the Inland Empire. He's one of the key components of us helping out in the Rancho office, right? And so it's a big deal. Him and his wife are doing big things here. So the next thing I wanted to share, any questions on that by any chance? Or? No? Okay. All right, so the next thing I wanted to share, okay. All right, next thing I wanted to share is basically the 3 pillars of basically most people's retirement. So most people's retirement, it starts with the first one, which is pensions. You guys still have pensions at your job, or you have any pension? Or?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, wonderful, good. And then do you know how it works? Or?
No,
No?
not at all.
Okay, and so some people, it's about, I think the last statistics was only like 2% of the people have pensions, whether they're firefighter or this, but that's pension. So do you have pensions at work?
No.
No, okay, so for example, if we're just showing this, if there was 3 pillars to retirement, we basically figure out which pillars you still have left, or if there's even, that leg there. So if there's no pension, then that's out of the way. Social Security, do you expect to receive it?
No.
No? How about you, Ty? Maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe
Next
half.
year.
So we'll just cut half. Maybe you get it, your wife doesn't, just because of the age difference, right?
Should take it.
Yeah. So maybe half of it, right?
Yeah.
because there's talking about being a big deficit in Social Security, right? In 2036, which is like in 16 years, right? Or 18 years. And then the last one is self-funded accounts, like 401ks and all that. Are you guys max funding your 401k or any other IRAs or all that?
Not max money, but
Half of, or what do you contribute?
I think it's 3%.
3%, so
Yeah,
maybe
and then-
partial of
yeah,
it,
partial.
so like this, right? So if this is how your table looked for retirement, I mean, would you be able to retire?
No.
No.
Probably not, right? And so,
Kitchen floor.
yeah, kitchen floor. Right, so basically these are the three pillars to retirement. So basically we assess this and look at it, and there's ways to build up pensions basically for yourself. You don't have to wait for a company to give it. You can actually build your own pension, and that's one of the things that we basically do. Social Security is just another form of pension, but we're just relying on making sure it exists or not, right? So basically we help build pensions there. So that's third. And then what we do, think of this, this is pretty neat, right? Think about how many people you care about that can benefit from what I just shared there. How many people are following the 40-40 plan? How many people need to know more about how to reduce the impact of taxes and all that? So I want to share that with you guys. There's basically 4 components when it comes to 4 components in regards to money. We call this the rules of money. There's basically 4 fundamental things when it comes to building a proper financial foundation, right? You build a house without the right foundation, kind of collapses, right? It doesn't stay long, right? So the first thing we help out with is growth, right? So basically growing the money. So we got, typically, if we go, have you guys ever heard of the Rule 72 by any chance? Or?
No, we'll say no.
No? Okay, so Rule 72 is basically a concept that, Rule of 72. Benjamin Franklin came up with it. Albert Einstein called it the 8th wonder of the world in creating wealth, basically. And it's not taught in schools. It's not taught in a bank. Most colleges, it doesn't go over it. And we leave college usually with debt and a bunch of credit card applications, right? And then that's how we start our career. And so the challenge is, Rule 72 can either work for you or against you. So, for example, if you go to a typical bank, I don't know who you guys bank with, but we go to Mr. Banker. Let's say Norman was the banker, and I go, man, I have $10,000 and I want to deposit into a savings. What's typically interest rate in my savings account?
0.001.
0.001. And let's just round it up. Let's say he's generous today and he gives us 1%. Right? Let's say we get a CD instead. He gives us 1%. So 1%. The question that we have now for Norvin, which he's not going to answer because he works for the bank. The question we have is, how long will our 10,000 double to 20? And Norvin doesn't want to answer that, or won't, right? They're not trained to, right? And they usually refer to their manager when there's questions like this that happen, is how long will it take for us, our money to double? And he's not going to answer it, but Rule 72 basically says it's very simple. We take whatever interest rate, we divide it into 72. So 71 goes to 72 how many times? 72, right? So it would take 72 years for our money to double. Like if everybody knew that, putting in their, as we deposit our money, if everybody knew it would take 72 years, there would be less money in the bank, right? And so the bank turns around, they turn around and go get at least a 10% rate of return on it. They've been getting 12.7 since the Great Depression. So it's not, it's 10, they've been getting 10 easily in that, and that's outside of credit cards. All right, we're not even talking about credit cards at 20%, 24, right? So now 10 goes to 72, you do the same thing. We just add a point right there, right? So that's goes to 72, 7.2 years. So now we put in our money, ours double every 72 years, theirs every 7 years. We come back and, right, our money's still where it's at, and then they've been doubling ever since, right? And so, let me ask you this. If you had a choice, if you knew where the bank's putting their money, would you rather put it in the bank, or would you rather put it where the bank's putting their money?
Where the bank's putting the money.
Obviously where the bank's putting their money. And so this is one area, and here's the thing. Most investment advisor, whether it's Merrill, all these financial companies, they talk about actually growing your money. Here's the niche in our end. Here's how we're different. Everybody talks about growing their money, compound interest, all that. Here's what they don't talk about. Safety. And this is where we come in. This kind of safety with an E or no?
Yeah, that's good.
It's good at spelling? All right, perfect, man. All right. I'm spelling conscious. Yeah. Sometimes I think, I used to spell excited, exited. Yeah, that was so embarrassing, man. I was spelling it out, excited, and it said exited, right? Like I exited something, right? So anyway, so all right, safety. So this is what I mean by safety. So this is 2008 again. You guys experienced any losses in 2008
Yes.
in the market, 401k,
I doubt
IRA?
Everything.
Okay. So if this is 2008, what if I told you there's accounts that's been around for decades where you can lock up the money actually locks it in at the highest watermark at that point. So instead of diving here, it's locked in here. When it starts to go back up, instead of starting from here, it starts from here. How would you feel about that?
That's how.
Yeah, right. So here's so basically the way it works as you look at this, we got and some companies basically the way it works, like if we have 100 grand here, right, and it takes a dip of 50%, right, we would have how much? 50,000, right? 50,000, and to go from 50,000 back to 100. I used to think because I lost 50%, I need to gain back 50%. But 50% of this is only 25,000. So I actually need to gain 100%, and that's just to break even. I haven't even made any money yet. And so what we found is that this climb back up, not only does it cost money, it also costs us time. So think about the people that were 65 in 2008. They're not able to retire, right? Because their money just took a dip, right? And so now, one of the things that we're able to do, like I've been here since even before 2008. I had clients here. I had people calling me and they go, man, how come I didn't make any money, right, this year? And I asked them, have you talked to your coworkers? Because they all lost money. We actually kept your money in place, right? And so I said, so before you talk, complain, why don't you talk to your coworkers, right? But that's happened there. And so there's basically different methods that we shared how this works. Obviously, there's something in it for the company too. Like some of them work in what's called caps, where I can make a certain amount up to a ceiling. But like, let's say I can make up to 15%, but if it's negative 15, I don't lose anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I can get everything in between. So some of them work like that. Some of them are different. And by the way, the reason I don't go in details on that, which you shouldn't, because we don't know yet where we're leading to. If it's an annuity, it works out differently. If it works out in IUL, it works out differently. So some of us are too product driven, and then you come in now with your illustration, they go, where's the 15% cap?
Yep.
Right? Or where's the thing that you're telling me about this? You said 2% guarantee or whatever it might be, right? So there's no, it's just what we're sharing is concepts versus trying to dive in and sell a product. That makes sense? So concept will sell, concept is for them to get the concept. You get them to get the concept, they'll buy the product with the concept, right? Because they get it, right? So, and it's easier to understand the product once you understand the concept. So the concept of safety is what I'm trying to illustrate more than product details. Right? I'm not going to cover how nationwide annuities work and break that down. You know what I mean? Like S&P, this, that, how, unless they're engineering it, which is fine, we'll have that dialogue, but most people won't have an engineer mindset. That makes sense? And you'll just lose it. Right? So, anyway, so growth, safety, and then last, so imagine how many people benefit from that, especially in 08 and all that stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
the third one is tax advantage, right? So basically we help if we have $1 here and this grows to 10, and we're all farmers here. We're all farmers. We're planting 100 penny seeds, right? We plant 100 penny seeds. It grows to 1,000 penny seeds, right? It goes to our harvest, and the IRS starts knocking at our door right now. It goes, it's tax season. Where do you think they'll tax us? The $1 or the $10? The 10. Right? But we're trained to defer everything, right? Because usually we go to our accountant, they want to defer everything, and nothing wrong with that. It's just, but most accountants view our CPAs, and nothing wrong with that. I got a great CPA, but we got their view is they're looking out for this. They're looking at it from a short-term perspective, where they're looking at refunds for this year. They're not looking at long-term, right? So when on the long-term side, I'm actually getting hurt because I'm going to get. So think about this: if we're at 30% bracket, which you guys are more than that. Right? We got 30% of that is what? 30 cents. 30% of this is what? $3. And this number can obviously be 100,000 versus a million. It can be 10,000 versus 100,000. You can kind of add zeros along with it. Right? So in this case, if I had a choice, where would I rather pay? Like we said, the $1, right?
Yeah.
And there's vehicles basically that you can do where you can grow it tax deferred, just like your 401k, but pull it out tax free.
Wow.
Right? So I don't have to worry about paying taxes on the interest. right? In regards to that. So there's ways to do that, and again, if I'm sitting down with a business owner, then I can dialogue a little bit more where they can actually even write this off, grow it, and then pull it out tax-free. So if you have a small business owner, it usually works for those people there. They can write off the initial amount and then grow it tax-free and then pull it out tax-free. It's like, that's why you want to be a business owner. Okay, so some of you guys, you can do it in WFT. So as you're building your company, the neat thing about WFT, you incorporate, and usually the employee is you and your spouse and maybe an assistant. That's your whole company. Because the rest is 1099 independent contractor. So it's actually, you're the ideal client to have one of these later on as you grow your income. The income you want to have to start this is at least 300 grand or up, right? And then you get that, and then you can write off half of that. And it goes to you. Like 95% of the pension goes to you and your wife. Maybe, 5% to your assistant, right? Which you can leeway just for tax purposes, but you write off 150 out of your 300, plus the other write-offs you have. So you're down I can't, I have a hard time getting approved with the Irvine office because of my income. It's funny. So I had to draw out 400 grand. I showed you my thing. I had to draw out 400 grand from some of my investment so I can show them I got the entire lease I have on my bank account. So can you take that as credibility as opposed to some startup? Because I was competing with a startup. I'm like, what the heck? You know what I mean? This is a startup. I've been in business for 14 years, but my income shows so low. I can't get it. I'm competing with a startup because my income's just a little bit over 200 grand on my taxes, right? So he goes, how are you going to afford a $120,000 office plus your kids and you're over and living in Irvine? They go, you're broke. You can't afford this, right? So that's how we're back and forth. I'm making a case, you know what I mean? So, but the point is, you can make this much and pay a lot. You have control. That's the point. As an employee, you have absolutely no control. Okay, so some of you guys are an employee. It's one of the reasons you want to transition to the B quadrant, right? Because it's designed, right? It's designed that way, and because entrepreneurs provide what? They provide jobs, right, and all that stuff. So they get certain benefits for that. So now, last year, protection, protect. Okay, shut. That's how I spell my words, just so you know. I sound it out. Anyway, so protection, let's talk about that for a second. We got, most people protect their homes, their cars, their gadgets nowadays, cameras, iPhones, Geek Squad, and then, what's that?
Birth control.
Birth
So important.
Oh,
I forgot it.
Birth control.
grab the beer. Anyway, or they insure their dogs and they don't have any life insurance.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you on that.
That's true.
Okay? There's dog insurance
Yeah.
and pet insurance,
Yeah.
right? But there's no coverage for your income or your life. And so, one of the things we found out, most people, and this is a good four-liner right here, this is most common thing with people. Most people have an insurance, they don't know how it works, they don't know what type, they don't know how long it lasts, right? And they don't have, they have insufficient coverage. Right? So if I get a $50,000 car, I probably have insurance for the $50,000 of it because I owe money in it. Right? But when it comes to our income in our life, most people, they don't have enough, right? And the rule of thumb is you have 10 times your annual salary at the minimum. That's outside of paying off a mortgage, this, right? At a minimum, I have 10 times my salary. So if I'm making 100,000, I better have at least $1 million, especially if I got dependent kids at home, right? So Jeff, you got dependent kids, you better be protected because lights go out. I mean, you got the whole, like something happens to me, my entire family is shattered, right? And I don't know how it is in your household, but when income comes down, you better be, there needs to be some sort of replacement there. And some of you guys are, obviously have experienced this personally in this room, right? There's several of you guys that experienced this, and it's difficult thing. And so we protect basically three things, right? Protect your income. In an event that something worst case is going to happen, how do we protect it? We have basically, we protect it from something happens to your life, or even get disabled, or long-term care. Second thing, well actually that goes here, long-term care or disability. So something happens in that end, we're basically able to help out in that area where your income's replaced, whether you get disabled or something happens, to us personally. And the third thing is you use protection to have an estate. So either to create one or protect the one we currently have, right? So the wealthy, they have, every Kennedy that's born, they put 50 grand for every grandchild that's born. And they know the law, they know the rules of money, they know compounding interest, they know safety, they know tax advantage, and they understand by the time the child's ready to go to college, they have not only college taken care of, they got they can have a first down payment for a house, car, all that stuff is taken care of with every grandchild that's born there. And for some of them, they don't even need that, and it compounds to retirement. You put 50 grand in the newborn and wait till retirement, watch that compound. Think about, what is it?
3.2 million.
3.2 million, and that's like at the minimum, and most of them are compounding more than that. There you go, you got the numbers there, 3.2 million, and that's at a conservative rate. So, these are this is basically the and we'll just stick in as the guests come out, right? We want to wrap up, right? Here?
Yeah.
'Cause, so we can get the whole thing. It's only a few of you that have guests anyway. So, so this is what we do for families. We share basically these four concepts here that for financial foundations basically. So, and any questions on this or anything that was raised?
I'd like to know more information as to how you're able to do this, or how you can, how I can get a plan.
Okay.
How we can get a plan.
Okay, wonderful. Let me show you. Actually,
What
that's
about her?
yeah. That's actually the next thing I'm going to cover. So basically, when you look at that, there's basically four. This is my version of a house, but there's basically this. If this was a financial household, the foundation of it is debt. Right? If I have bad debt, especially bad debt, like if I have a 24% credit card that we're talking about, high car note, right, and all sorts of stuff, I can have savings here, right, at 1%, like we talked about a while ago, and eventually this will get eaten up. Right? I see people go travel, go on a vacation, they put in a credit card, and they had money here, and eventually this eats it up because their vacation at 10 grand with the interest, plus 24%, it's $13,000 vacation, right? So they can have savings here, eventually eats it up here. And so what happens here is, and over here, this is long-term care, right? Long-term care and disability. Here is retirement. So I see this is life insurance. So let me just cover this in this nice snapshot. I see a lot of people with, I sit down with a lot of families that have retirement in place. They have, like one of the families I sat down with had $1.1 million in retirement. They had the proper life insurance. They had savings. They had no debt. So it was like the perfect situation. But they didn't have long-term care. Husband's 58. Basically gets diagnosed with something, ends up needing long-term care. He ends up living for 9 years. The long-term care costs $9,800 a month. They depleted the entire million in about 9 years. Not only that, the wife had to sell the house just because they had no more money left. When he passed away, they had no more money left because everything was depleted. This is how much it costs to care for the husband. So a lot of times, they had everything in place. They had the proper roof, good foundation, but they were missing a wall. And flood came and it flooded the house. And their whole house got destroyed. Everything. They had to get rid of the house and everything else. So a lot of times, this is how we're unique. Most people, they come to you and they sell you life insurance. That's AAA, State Farm, Allstate. You got your investment guy that sells you an investment product, right? You got your debt guy or mortgage guy selling debt. Your banker at Wells Fargo is selling the highest CD, right? Or pitching you that there's a penalty in a CD if you don't, anyway, giving you a good interest rate on a CD. And then you got your Aflac guy selling, disability. And then most people, they go, I have a plan. No, you don't. You got a product. You don't have a plan. What you have is you got sold a product. Right? Here's how we're different. We provide a plan. Products with no plan have no direction. Just like if we were to go somewhere new and we don't have navigation to get there, it'll probably take you a lot longer. So how we narrow, so how we narrow it down is we put in a navigation. If you have Waze, we probably put in Waze, and it's the quickest way, and we'll even avoid traffic or minefields, right? to get to our destination the quickest possible way. So same thing, that's what we provide. When we provide a plan, we get you the shortest possible way, and then what we do is we connect you to the biggest companies on Wall Street. We bring it to Main Street or the comfort of your home. So we represent all the companies. So we're the Costco financial industry. We represent Wells Fargo, Voya, Prudential, you name it. And basically there's no bias. So now we shop it for you. There's no competition because we're a discount broker dealer, and it's phenomenal. So anyway, we look at all areas of your life here, and then basically we see what's best fit for you. Does that make sense? So some people, watch this. This is pretty unique. Some people, there's just a hole on the roof. And sometimes the hole is just, they're contributing 15% on their 401k and they're only getting matched 5%. And all we do is take that 10%, same amount of money, all we do is take that 10% and put it somewhere else, and now they can retire sooner just because of what we did. So it was just a little tweak, a little patch in the hole, and now they're way better off. Because of that, they were retiring 3 years sooner. Or they're retiring with $30,000 more. Right? Just a little tweak in their retirement. So what we do is we just basically gather basic info, and then we put together something, and we come back and show you guys how we can enhance your current situation. Isn't that awesome?
I would
Exciting.
love to do this.
Yeah. That's what Norman's learning how to do here.
That's
Step
awesome.
it up, Norman.
Thank you, Norman. Thank you.
Right? So now let's. So what do you guys currently have in your 401k?
17.
17,000, and how much are you getting matched on it? Okay, so I'm just telling you how to transition. You transition, just go straight to asking exactly there. I go straight for the assets, by the way, just so you know. Straight to the assets, okay? What's
I
that?
was gonna say I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah.
Okay, you have a statement? They're required to send you every 3 months.
Yes.
Okay, if you mind bringing it out, and then boom, we'll
Okay,
bring it
yeah.
out. Okay? And by that time, if I'm giving enough value, they'll bring out whatever information we need to put together the plan. Right? And so, and you know, if for some reason, let's just give a scenario. Let's say they go, and let's say they weren't this excited about this whole thing, because that can happen. How many of you guys agree?
Yeah.
Right? They're not that excited, and they go, I don't know about this, I have a financial planner, I don't know, whatever it is they say. But do you see how I already overcome the objection before it comes up?
Yes.
I already overcome it by saying most people have a life insurance guy, they have an investment guy, they have Aflac guy, they have this guy, they have that guy. So I already brought that objection up before it shows up. You guys see that?
Yeah.
So a lot of times the same objection, sometimes, you know, pay attention to what objections you get in the field, because it's probably you're not addressing it in your presentation. Okay? What else? No, so let's say you're hesitant. You go, oh, I don't know if I'm, you know, I don't know if I, whatever. You don't give me information. You go, oh, what's this?
I don't feel comfortable. Whatever
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable, whatever. Or what? Why? Or can't you just give me a quote or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I'll let you know. I go, man, it's, you know. And some of you guys give the quote, and that's the mistake. You know, if I gave you a quote, then I would be just like your AAA guy. That's my exact answer right there. If I just gave you a quote, then you might as well go. Like I'll tell them, just go to AAA. I'm not your guy.
Yep.
So some of us are so desperate for the sale
Yep.
that we'll bend down backwards just because you want a sale of whatever quote, right? But the point is, I'm not going to serve them well if I just did a quote. That's not what we do.
Yep.
So don't be AAA. That's the point. Okay? And or whoever, right? And AAA is a great company. So I have AAA. Actually, my car insurance is well. You know, so but they're ingenious. They're in a membership business, and then they flip it around and get you the rest of the stuff. Get you to travel with them, get you to do this. But they're in the membership business. They're in the come on is the membership, and then basically get you in the background. Similar to what we do. It's pretty funny. We get you to become a member, and then we sell you the products. Because there's no money in membership. You think AAA makes money on $50 a year? Or whatever you're paying? They don't make money on it. Just to have their office. This was an old AAA building. That's the funny part. We're making more money than AAA. So, yeah. So let's say there's hesitation. I'll just do that, and then we'll address. Let's. If you have guests, the four of you go, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A real quick. So, let's say you have that objection. You go. I don't know. Give me one. Just
Is this a scam, or is there money going? Are you gonna like take a percentage of it? Are you gonna cut up my money?
I don't know if you would say scam after what I just went over, but that's kind of. I would if you said scam, I would leave your house right now. Like, are you like a dumb nut or something? You know what I mean? Like, did anything I went over resonate? I mean, just so you know, when I get stupid objections, I don't entertain it.
Yeah.
Okay, I throw it back at them. So if I get, is this a scam? What do you mean scam? What makes you think I'm in a scam? What makes you think Norman's gonna be in a scam? Are you kidding me? No, I'm serious. Like, I mean, like, you know, this is, I've been doing this for 13 years. You think I'd pour my heart and soul in here and it end up a scam? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But yeah, but I mean, the point is sometimes we entertain it.
Yes.
And now you elaborate it. It's like entertaining a problem.
Yeah.
What happens to a problem that you entertain? It gets bigger.
It gets bigger.
So some of us entertain something, and it gets bigger and bigger, and now it's like the whole conversation is about that when it's not even relevant. Right? So I throw it back. Like, you know, you go, man, is this a pyramid? What do you mean? What's your definition of pyramid?
Well, when
Yeah.
someone gets money off of me and blah, blah, blah.
Like, is that what you're doing, or? Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Because somehow, if you thought this was that, based on my presentation, there's something like, what didn't you understand? I mean,
Yeah.
this is the oldest industry around, the financial service industry. We're not talking about some scam way or anything like that. This is the financial service industry. We are the most regulated industry in the world. Right? Yeah, so knock people, yeah, I mean, it's not, play offense on that.
Yeah.
What else? So, let's overcome that. So, you go, man, I don't know if, you know, can you just give me a quote? This is what I need. And I go, I understand you just want a quote, but first thing, one, I'm not, you know, like, I'm not your insurance guy or retirement guy. I basically actually do a plan, do my research, and come up with the best solution for you. So, we work more like a doctor and patient relationship. So, if you guys were, not that you garden, but let's say you're gardening, you guys were gardening one Sunday afternoon in your backyard, and you guys are in the backyard, you're, you know, going through your roses and all this stuff, and one Sunday afternoon, you have this side, you sleep, next Monday, when you wake up, you had this side ache. You didn't know what the heck was going on, right? You had this side ache, you come into my office, and I happen to be a new doctor in town, this was Nurse Norman, and you come in, and you go, man, I have a side ache, we were just in our backyard, just plucking some weeds and this and that, and we don't know what's going on. And I look at you guys in the eye, I look, Ty, Naz, I know exactly what it is. In fact, just by looking at you right now, I know exactly what it is. You need a kidney transplant right now. In fact, the kidneys are fresh in the back. Go grab it. Let's put you on the operation table right now. How do you guys feel about that?
I would be very uncomfortable.
Feel very uncomfortable. And so, but the challenge, most people in the financial industry, that's what they do. They haven't done your blood reading. They haven't done a financial pulse reading, financial X-ray, financial blood reading. But yet they can give you a solution right away without even seeing that. So what we do is we do a financial X-ray, financial blood reading, take basic information, and then we can do a proper diagnosis on what the challenge is, and then we come back, right? If not, right, we come back and basically see what patch we need or what roof we need in there in the financial household there. So, is that fair enough?
Yeah, that makes
Okay, so let's tell me again, what do you have in your 401k?
17,000.
Okay, everybody got it?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's that. So every time and once you're in the field, that's why you need to go in the field 5, 10, 15 times, you'll learn all these stories. And literally every objection has a story behind it, and then for people, the stories stay in their mind. You might have, I could have answered that in a factual way, but it doesn't stick in people's mind. But I can bring up that story 6 months from now. I go, remember the doctor and patient story I was sharing with you about the kidney transplant? They go, oh yeah, I remember that. There you go. Share that with them. Right? So now people remember stories. They don't remember just facts. Right? And so that's why, when you're presenting, and then two things on the presentation. One, it's a conversation versus just me presenting. That's one. Second is you start relating in stories. Right? And I have a story for everything. So as we wrap up here, I just wanted my policy is I sit down with, let's say I gathered all your info already. So there's 4 outcomes in an appointment. Okay? Mm-hmm. 4 outcomes. One is I gather info. Right? Second is I ask commitment to get referrals. Right? So, and I'll do that in the end here. So, and third, I want to ask you guys if, and then third is commitment to do business. Fourth is have a, what? Second appointment, return appointment within 72 hours. So I'm sitting down with you guys, like we sat down in 72 hours, right? So we got, my policy was or you can say our policy is we sit down within 72 hours because I want to make sure it stays fresh in my mind, and same thing with you guys. And so today is Monday, I have some opening on Wednesday and again on Thursday. What day works better for you guys?
Thursday, Wednesday.
Okay, Wednesday? Okay. Wednesday, you want to do 6 or 8?
You pick.
What if they say I'm busy, or I can't?
You busy?
or
What do you-
I can't, I work all, 12-hour shifts. both
Okay,
days.
12-hour shifts. And
Yeah.
what days are your day off?
Friday.
Friday?
Friday evening,
Okay, then we'll probably set up on
like
Friday.
at 10 p.m.
10 p.m. We'll probably set up. Yeah, I mean, we'll set it up accordingly. We could, yeah, we'll set it up accordingly, whatever it makes sense. But I'll play around with the schedule, work with mine and yours, and
Okay.
schedule a time where it both fits, obviously. So it's basically the rule, but you make an exception. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? It's not like a, you know, yeah, just guideline on that. And then the third thing is basically as we're going over it, and I'll go over it here also. Lastly, here is there's 4 types of people I sit down with. Okay, there's 4 types of people I sit down with. One says I'm broke and they can't save any money. And a lot of times it's not that they're broke, it's just they're not prioritizing where the money's going. Right? And so the second type is they go, man, they see themselves as an average saver. They see themselves putting away 10% of what they make. A good saver sees himself putting 15%. A great saver sees himself putting away 25%. So knowing that you guys want to put away, you guys mentioned education's important for you and your family. Retirement was important there. You mentioned a house in Newport Beach, right? You got maybe even a wellness center down the road and all that, right? What do you see yourself putting away, knowing it would go towards this? Where do you see yourself here? 25%? So let me ask you guys this. So you got, and I already gathered their info, okay? I already gathered their info, so I already know their income. I'm just gonna base this on your net income. So let's just say the net is 5,000, 5,000. Let's just keep it simple. So 5,000 net, 25% of that is that 1250?
Yeah.
I think 1250 or 675 a paycheck, right? You guys get paid twice a week. So is that a number that's something that's let's say you put that away for each one of you, right? Because you said 25%. Is that a number that's low, high, or just about right?
Sounds like a little high.
Little high? How about for you? Tim?
No, that's fine.
That's fine. Okay. All right. So what's high for you then?
675 is a little high, so maybe like for like 500.
500.
Yeah.
Okay. 500 a paycheck.
Yeah.
Okay. And so 500 paycheck or 1,000 a month. And a lot of times, think about this. Like I have a client of mine that's a barber. This is $30 a day. So what he did was put away $30 of his tip a day. But think about it. That's $30 a day. Sometimes we just blow out here and there, right? We blow out, and sometimes we eat out. It's $100 with the kids, probably 200, right? It just
the rest she ate.
think about it, 300 a month, and this is for everybody's perspective. If you spend 300 a day, well, I don't know if you do, but think about 300 a day for something like bars. Some people they do bars every night, right? I don't know if that's maybe Paul, Michael, David over here. No, I'm just kidding. That's 9,000 a month, right? That's 9,000 a month. Not that he does. I'm just giving you a number. But if someone can't save $10 a day, right? That's $10 a day. That's why I say you can work for In-N-Out, and I can show you how to be a millionaire, provided you're young enough, right? You can have enough compound interest. You can be working for In-N-Out, and you save 1 hour of your paycheck, 1 hour out of your 8-hour day, and you can become a millionaire working at In-N-Out. So it's never that you don't have money; it's just not prioritized. I sat down. I have a client of mine. I sat down with her when she was 73, and she had over 700 grand. She was CNA for her entire career. She was a CNA. You know how much CNAs make? Barely anything. She had 700 grand, right? So it's not how much you make. Literally, it's literally. So what I'll share. Lastly, I'll share. Let's say they have a hard time with this concept here. Right? They go, we're paycheck to paycheck. I don't know. It's just it's hard, right? I don't know if I can. I'm probably in between broke and average, or somewhere between here, like 5% and all that stuff. And a lot of times, maybe it's true because they have so much liability, right? They have car payment, house payment, this payment, and it's concrete. That's why when I first got started, I sold my home. I had a home here in Azusa and Aroma. I made 180 grand on it. I kept that cash and basically just went full throttle in business. I sold my home, sold everything, downsized. Me and my brother lived together in a townhome right here in Covina, and my brother was making 150. I was making $500,000 in that townhome. and we were splitting the cost of a $2,100 townhome. Right? He was forking out $800, I was forking out $1,300. We were in a townhome. Our overhead was low. We had no debt, barely any overhead, all that stuff, because we wanted to invest. But we invested. The reason we did that, we wanted to invest in our business. So our offices cost, right, like we had an assistant, we had an office. My office was $1,500 a month or $1,800 a month. I had an assistant that I was paying $1,500 a month. So my office overhead was $3,300, but I cut down my entire personal overhead so I can invest in my business. And $3,000 for a business is not much, right, Paul? I mean, you spend that just on social media. I mean, this, you know,
Or a bar.
or a bar, yeah. But the point is, but so that's what it is. So a lot of times, most people cut it down so they can work less in business or work less. So it's a wrong way. It's a wrong reason to cut down their overhead. Does that make sense or not? Like they lower their standards so they don't have to work as much, right? Or they can even qualify for welfare. I see some people do that, right? They lower everything so much and they're in freaking welfare. And I see them in welfare for 20 years. I know people close to me that done that. So they lowered their life so much where they can retain welfare status, right? And WIC and all the other stuff that comes in, and they go, man, I'll be fine. So their money now they're making at their job is pocket money, and then they depend on the government for the rest. Right? I mean, so some people can go to that low. Maybe some of you are in this room, right? Because I was in welfare, so I'm not, you know, I got, you know, anyway, my welfare home is 2 blocks away from it, right? Badillo and Citrus, Badillo and Grand, right across the McDonald's there. You can see it, right? It's still there. It's a memorable home. No AC, nothing, right? So, it's funny, our rent there was $1,500. We still needed help. Imagine that. My mom, single mom, 4 of us, we still needed help. You know, the help we got was $800, so we paid $700, the difference. And I was selling cars in that whole strip there. I was selling, like, buying Hyundais, your car, back when it wasn't popular, Hyundai. Yeah, I was buying that, flipping that, and the penny saver, right? So anyway, that's another story. Where were we at? So if they don't understand the concept, what do we do? Oh, there we go. So lastly, as we're done. Yeah, lastly, and we'll open up for a little Q&A and we'll wrap up. So we got, if this was a line of 10, 15 people, and this is my wife, and then my kids, and I don't have to draw this out, but I'm just showing you for the rest of the people here. So that's my 4 kids and my wife, and they're the back of the line. And the challenge for most of us is we have 10, 15 things in front of us, and usually they're paid first. Right? Our car payment, mortgage, bills, utilities, and then our families in the back of the line. So I pictured my wife and kids with their hands out like this. And they go, Daddy, what happened to my future? And this puts tears in my eyes because it's what I vividly imagine. It's the only way I got. Even in WFT, when I was making $100,000 or more, if I didn't do this, I'd still be broke. Even in WFT, right? So if you don't practice this stuff we talk about, right? It's a bad deal. So I pictured my family in the back of the line. I go, Daddy, well, how about me? Right? And if I don't put him in the front of the line, nothing will ever change. So I put my family in the front of the line where they got paid first. And even if I blew out all the money, bars, whatever I do with it, clubs like DeSella, right? It doesn't matter what you do. Like if I blow out everything else, I already took care of the most important thing, which is me and my family, right? If you're a person that tithes, then obviously you tithe and then your family, right? You think about it, we're talking about 10, 20% of what you make. You tithe 10%, another 10% goes to your family, 80% you spend. So it's like, when you hop on a commercial plane and they go, man, put on the mask to who first? You or your son or your child? Yourself. Because you put on your kids, by the time you're up on yours, you're done, and then you basically killed your whole family, right? Because they got nowhere to go, no one's helping them out. And so that's the main lesson is like Mother Teresa's quote. He says, you can't help the poor by being one yourself. You know what I mean? And the best way to help them is to not to be one, not to be the poor, right? So you can actually contribute, serve, give, love, right? All that stuff. Give love, you want love, give love, right? And that's the whole concept of this. And so the main thing is I'm taking out Norvin in the field. Number one, he's a personal client, right? So he's not a hypocrite in the field. He goes, man, this is what the company's done for me. Let me, I want to bring Paul because he's impacted my family so much. I didn't have any life insurance. I didn't know how it works. He's taught me how this works, or whatever applies to him. When I was in the field with Tita, she goes, I have 12 policies. Paul was able to help me out. I doubled my coverage for the same amount of money. True or not true? Right? So double my coverage for the same amount of money. So they go, man, how do you do that at like 59, right?
60.
60. At 60 at that time. And so it's incredible story. And then now it's a testimonial versus a sales pitch. You know what I mean? So think about that. What makes us different is the educational approach versus the sales approach. Right? We're not trying to push on the first visit here. We don't do first visit close. We gather basic info, come back, and literally take a look at what they have, come back, and then show them the solution for the family there. And now we've done the proper diagnosis, all that stuff. So, what else? Any questions while we're up here? Anything? Yeah. Yes, Alan.
So, if you're in the presentation and these people sitting there, the clients, they say, I'm all in, how do I do what you do?
Yeah.
How do I make a transition from there, since we've been doing that, to, getting them to, they're interested in as a business or doing what they're doing?
Yeah. So usually, if I'm sitting down here and this was set up as a client presentation, I'll stick with that and stay my course. Does that make sense? I'm not just gonna switch to business. I'll just stay my course because it's just too much dialogue. And I don't want to be in the house for 2-3 hours, although we were last night because of you. But but I want to stay the course. Does that make sense? We're not going to go left and right. So I'll just stay the course. But what I'll do is I see, and also it's a form of, some of us need to have like some posture in our presentation. What I mean is you're not too like desperate for the sale. You're not too lazy. You're not too laid back about it, right? You're just neutral. With or without you, our life moves on. We got 6 other appointments to do. But my main outcome, and this is true for most of the trainers here, is whether something happens or not, I'm happy that Norvin got trained. That's number one outcome. Number one is I never wasted my time because he just saw another presentation. Does that make sense? He saw another skeptical person. Even though, let's say they're skeptical, they never do anything about it, and skeptical people, by the way, are usually broke, so they have the right to remain broke. So that's fine. So we'll leave the house, but he's trained. And I go, what'd you learn from it? That's the win, right? What'd you learn from it? That's a win. What'd you learn from it? That's a win. And then we go over this, we'll have coffee or we'll eat, we'll go somewhere, and we'll diagnose what he learned from it, etc. Right, back and forth with it. Second thing, my second outcome. So first is they're trained. By the way, are you teaching that to your associates when you're done with the appointment? Right? Do they see that as a win or do they see that as a loss? Right? Because by the way, person with the most appointments wins. It's not the person that closes the most. It's the person with the most appointment. I can't control their world. I can only control what I do from this side. Right? So that's one. Second outcome is I get them referrals. Right? So I build him a market because the people he knows anyway won't do business from him. Right? Your mom, your aunt that knows you growing up won't do business with you. Like Arnold, that's her aunt, Tita. Tita, when Arnold came in, the guy that was the bald guy here that makes bald look good, like,
It's like my
P&D and Arnold AA, right? He goes, man, this is the exact words of Tita. He's nothing. No, I don't know, man. He's whatever, I don't know about him, man, right? I don't know. You said more stuff than that, but basically like he won't amount to anything kind of thing. That's how the introduction of Tita and Arnold, because they know each other. He knew Arnold grew up.
That remains to be seen.
But hold on. Sess had the same label. This is Arnold's sister. It's the same label she had for him. They go, oh, you just mess around, whatever, right? And whatever the label might be. But I saw something different. And so there's a part there where your family sees one way about you. So if it wasn't for my belief in Arnold, he would be treated accordingly. Does that make sense? And that's the power of our system and mentorship. When someone comes in, like I don't see myself ever training my sister or my brother, like my youngest brother. Nathan, yeah, because we grew up closely.
Yeah.
But my youngest brother, Hiram, most stubborn guy in the world. Which he's done well now. He's opened up his own office, put his money where his mouth is. He's about to cross over $250,000. He's been averaging 20 grand a month, right? And all that being stubborn. So if he can make it, you can make it. And then my sister, I can't see myself just training her. If she came into business, that would be like, I don't know. It's not a dream come true, but it would be like a weird thing, right? Some of you guys have relatives like that if they ever come in. But some people might look at my sister differently and then basically end up recruiting her, right? I mean, I'm just saying. So, sorry, what was the question? Oh, that. So, going back to Alan, the question basically is I'll invite them to an overview, like a presentation, since they already had proper introduction. I go, what we can do though, if you're interested in the business, is I can give you a chance to come down one of our offices, right, and take a look at it, tour the office, and get a chance to meet a lot of people we work with, and then see what our business is more about, explore more on our business. That make sense?
Yeah.
So I can reserve a seat for you guys for that. So I'll invite him to that, and in the same token, I'm not just pouring bucket to curiosity.
Yeah.
So curiosity is fire. And the tendency is we'll just throw up on people, and that's putting water on the fire. And if you kill the fire, there's no more curiosity, they jump to conclusion and they take their own, So now what happens, it's me keep giving information, right? I keep pouring water to the fire, and then there's no more curiosity. Oh, that's what that is, just not for me, or whatever it might be, right? And then they kind of move on. And so you keep them curious at the same time, just like Hollywood's great at it with previews, right? They give you a preview so you can watch the movie. If you knew the ending to Black Panther, you wouldn't watch it, right? Or you knew how the whole thing went already, you wouldn't, because it's like a long movie, right? I mean, it's like 2.5 hour movie, man. It's just a lot. But you wouldn't go invest 2.5 hours if it wasn't for the preview. Does that make sense? And so that's the same thing there. So 2.5 hours is the same thing. When they come here, it's 2.5 hour commitment, right? To watch the actual movie. The preview is you. But you keep throwing up on it, then you kill the curiosity. Yeah. So that's that. Yeah. What else? Yeah.
Some of the stuff I get when I'm
Can
doing,
you stand up for them? Just so everybody
some of the stuff I get, Paul, like when I do the appointments, is I get a difficult time getting referrals because I always get the thing like, you know what? Let me talk to my people first and let them know about you, and then I'll give you the number. So how do you like?
Yeah. That's great. I mean, in fact, I want you, and in fact, I want you to talk to them, right? And I want you to talk to them before I even. That's kind of. I want you to talk to them before I get in contact with them. And so you want to do that in the first appointment. So actually, I forgot to do that here, but I'll leave the referral sheet. Right, I'll leave the referral sheet here with them, and I'll leave that with them, and I'll ask them. I go when we come back, and we show you a solution that's better for your family and enhances your family situation, and you be the sole judge of it, right? You be the sole judge of it, and we're able to prepare something for you that enhances what you do dramatically. Would you be hesitant in referring us 5 to 10 people you care about?
If it was an amazing plan, I would refer more than 10.
Okay. Because the way basically we don't do cold calls, we don't do door knocking, we don't do flyers or advertisement. The way we've done business, and I'm helping Norman out, is basically I'm helping him out is basically just hopefully you guys are impressed with today's presentation, that you introduce her to people. You want the same experience for other people that you care about, and then send it his way, especially if we're able to enhance. Let's say you guys are able to help out, get more coverage for the same amount of money, retire sooner, right? I mean, we're able to do that. I'm sure you guys want other friends of yours to hear the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So all we ask is we don't charge a fee for doing this. All this we're going to do complimentary. We don't charge for it. Typically most companies they charge $500 to $1,500 to sit down with you, but we'll do it complimentary. And if we give value in what we do, and next time you come back, if you don't mind, if you can put 5, 10 people you care about, list them down as you already mentioned 2 people here as we're here. I mean, list them down there, and if you feel there's enough value in our solution, then we hopefully we deserve that quality introductions with people you care about, right? If we give no value, then don't worry about it. Okay, but if we give value, hopefully if that's something you can help us out with, and Norman out especially. Is that fair enough?
I'd be happy to help Norman.
All right, sounds good. And if I put a plan together that's best for you and your family, is there any reason, like if it's better than what you currently have, better insurance, better retirement, or whatever it might be, whatever we can help you with, is there any reason why you wouldn't do business with us?
No.
Okay. And let's say they say, yeah, I don't, whatever the objection. Let's say they're not ready to do business and all that, or they're just a heavy objection of not, whatever. I see that they're not ready to do business, then I'm not gonna be preparing the whole thing. I'll just, when you're ready, you let me know, and then we'll kind of go from there. So if I know it's the appointment's dead at this point, which means there's no second appointment, none of that, I'll go straight to getting referrals, and then we're done. You learn from the appointment, and I got 2, 3 names, or 5 names, or 10 names, and then we're done. You don't try to push this. I'm done with it. Keep in mind, this is different from your traditional sales. Because why? We're sitting down with trust-based relationship. which means they have a friendship. And the main thing, whether they do business or not, this friendship remains. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's why also our approach is different versus the traditional